Hello there and welcome back to Hydroponics Daily, your go-to podcast for everything soilless cultivation. I'm your host, Dr. Russell Sharp, and as I say in previous episodes, I am the founder of Utrema Limited, and we make interesting fertilizers, novel biostimulants, and organic biopesticides. And I was WhatsApped by a friend of mine with some really interesting news about hydroponics. And this one is a hydroponic farm that you can go and visit in London. And anyone can go and visit it. Now, I am lucky enough to go and have visited some of the most impressive hydroponic facilities in the world, really, in North America, Europe, and in the UK. But I'm an industry insider. If you remember the general public, you don't really get to see hydroponic setups or vertical farms. And that's disappointing because you do get to see other farms. You can go out and visit a carrot farm in your local area or whatever it is that they grow in your local area. But very rarely do you get to see a vertical farm. You can see it on YouTube. You can see pictures of them. You might be able to go to a grow shop, and there might be a grow tent, very small scale, but very rarely you can see a vertical farm. Normally they're hidden inside massive warehouses or in shipping containers with no windows. Even those that are next to restaurants could be in a shipping container and not able for the customers, the diners, to actually see them being grown. The closest you get is maybe a cabinet being grown with some leafy veg inside. However, this is very different. My friend Benjamin Litchfield, he texted me and said that he was there with his family at the Minecraft experience in London, which is in Canary Wharf, Canada Square. And he said that they've got a massive hydroponic farm and sent me some pictures. And it turns out it's this company called Harvest London, which has come on my radar recently as well. And they are supplying leafy greens and vegetables to local restaurants in the city of London and in Canary Wharf, where the supply will be difficult to get hold of, especially fresh produce, and shelf life and quality might be limited because of just the sheer fact of having to get fresh produce into the city of London, which is difficult. Most people commute in because the roads are so difficult and there's a congestion charge and things like this. So they have set up in Canary Wharf itself and they're growing multi-tiered, looks like ebb and flood or NFT system. And the beauty of this is that the walls of a lot of the grow room are open to the public, and especially there's sort of like sofas where you can lounge around outside, and a restaurant area with lots of street food type kiosks where you can go and have food. And maybe some of these restaurants and street foods are supplied by Harvest London, and there is a pizza company that's supplied by them. And kids are going to go to the Minecraft experience that's on there, especially at half term as it is at the moment during the holidays, and they're going to see crops being grown hydroponically in vertical farms, which is really interesting and will spark their imagination. And you can just sit there and look at the crops being grown and harvested and operations, and so you can study. If you want to study how they do it, then you can go and see it. There's no trade secrets on display. So I think this is a fantastic opportunity, and I'll be getting down to Canada Square to go and have a look. The pictures look amazing. There's nothing revolutionary. It's like, let's have a count, 4-5 tier deep. So it's not a small, short hydroponic setup. It's fairly big. And they've got LED lights and trays, which I think are either NFT or flood and drain. They're growing microgreens and leafy veg, and it's an impressive site. And they've got seeding areas and germination areas, and they're claiming to be 100% pesticide-free as well. Which, so obviously it's glass walls, so you can't actually get into the growing system, the growing room, but you don't need to. You can look in. You don't need to touch, as I tell my children. You just have to look, and you can see how they're getting on. It'd be interesting. Obviously, their biosecurity and their systems will have to be cleaner than clean because they can't get away with any nasty, because they're always on show to the public. So they can't be saying they're 100% pesticide free and then spraying stuff, and they can't be having algae everywhere and lots of waste around and things like this. So the fact that they're on public display all the time will keep them on their toes. It also plays into a lot of psychological triggers and when it comes to purchasing. And you think being on display in the public has no advantage, but it's been shown through a number of psychological experiments that when people can see the effort that something has taken to be produced, they value it more and they're prepared to pay more for it. So if you went to the pizzeria and they said this is being grown in that vertical farm next door, and you can see the people working away and you can see the effort that's required, then you will value it much more. And that's proven with things like when restaurants where you can see the chefs working. If you go to a number of restaurants now, you can see the open plan kitchen, whether that is a chain restaurant like Wagamama's or, which is, a chain, a family restaurant, or you go to a Michelin star restaurant, Michelin star restaurants, so you can see the chefs working, even the chefs come out for this specific reason, this psychological trigger that when people see the effort that something was took to be made, they value it more. So we could see more sort of facilities like this one in Harvest London. And I think it's a great opportunity. I think they're doing it the right way and they are maximising their potential. There's a lot of people on LinkedIn, certain people who won't be named, who always talking about growing crops on top of supermarkets. That is a stupid idea because people don't see it. It's on top of the supermarkets. They're never going to see it, so they're not going to value it more. And also, you have to pack it and sanitize it and harvest it, and you have to get all the fertilizer and things like this. So it's not an easy. The post-harvest is just as difficult as the growing, and that's going to be even more difficult to do on top of a supermarket, especially when you've got acids and alkalis and things like this that could leak through into the supermarket. And, leafy veg is only a small part of what a supermarket grows. Whereas something like this, a farm integrated into a food hall, a food court, where people can see it and taste it and experience it, I think is a great opportunity. So chapeau to Harvest London and everyone at Canada Water who's involved in that. So a really interesting one. If you're into Minecraft, then double bubble. You can get down there and experience some Minecraft and also some hydroponic growing. And the vertical farm almost does look like it's been built by a player on Minecraft. The windows are all squares. The units are all rectangular, and so you can imagine it the exact same system being rendered in a Minecraft world. So really interesting, that one. Thank you very much for listening to this babble today. If you found it at all useful, then please do follow the podcast. If you're on Apple, leave a review. If you're on any other platform listening to this, don't bother leaving a review because it is useless. It doesn't help us in any way. What does help us is if you go onto utrema.co.uk, our website, and check out what we do. We do lots of interesting things to do with hydroponics and other sorts of things like lawn care and arable crops grown in the soil. And if you can't spell Utrema, it's Latin for wasabi. That's been Hydroponics Daily for today. Thank you very much for listening, and until next time, goodbye.